Thank you for coming. Resident undergraduate tuition. The total tuition and fees per FTE. That means it takes all the revenue from resident undergraduates, non-resident undergraduates, graduates, both in-state and out-of-state, lumps all that together and divides it by the number of full-time equivalent students. And what you'll see is, in terms of total tuition and fees, we're not so far out. That's page 6. Mine says page 6. I'm sorry. Okay, see the table in the middle? Tuition and resident undergraduate fees. Now we're about $500 below these other institutions on the tuition level charged to people like you, not your out-of-state classmates. Overall, in terms of revenue, we're about the same in terms of what we get from tuition. Where we're low is on state appropriations. $4,300 less than these other institutions. So what does that mean? Well, if you lump the if you lump the $79 in revenue from full-time equivalent students together with the $4,300 in out-of-state, we are short $4,202 per student compared to these other people that are like us. How much is that worth? That's worth $116 million. If we had what they have, we'd have $116 million. So let me ask you a question. How many of you had trouble getting a class that you needed at a particular time? How many couldn't get a required class when you needed it? Okay. How many of you felt like you got a slow response from an administrative apparatus somewhere? Registrar, transcript, parking. Well, forget parking, that's different, okay? So what you all are showing is the result of having $115 million less than people like us. No other way around it. And I want to break that out for you in a little more detail. Other schools like us nationally, 116 low. The state has guidelines. It says $88 million low. So what does that mean in terms of what you all experience every day in the classroom? Well, on page 8, I've run down some of the impacts for you. Faculty salaries are low and getting lower. There's a steady decline in the percentage of tenure-track faculty. Rising student-faculty ratios. How many of y'all have full classes and don't have a seat left in your class? Okay? Where does that come from? It's not like we wake up one day and say, you know, today we'd really like to make it hard for students. We're going to make it so we're not going to have enough classes. We're not going to have enough seats in the classes. So let me give you a couple of examples. Page 9. Y'all started looking for the clock yet? When is it going to be done? Because the key to this, and I say this half kidding, but the key to this is what turns out to be the value of your degree. You all are investing, consciously or because you think you have to, in your future. And so what we want to do is give you the maximum value for your investment. And that's what you ought to want also. The best possible education for whatever it is you're paying. And when we find there aren't enough faculty or enough courses to go around, that's a problem for us. And that's why I said at the beginning, VCU sort of at a crossroads, okay? Faculty salaries. Why do you care about faculty salaries? Because, don't you love when people ask questions and they proceed to do the answer to the next sentence? Because the better the faculty that we can attract to teach you, the better your education, the better your investment. So 10 years ago, we had salaries within $3,000 of what UVA was paying its faculty. Today, we have salaries $25,000 below. Want something closer to home? Let's look at George Mason. 10 years ago, our salaries were within salary average was about $1,000. Within $1,000 of George Mason's. Now it's $10,000 below. Look at Old Dominion, which can't compete with VCU, but we're actually even losing ground against Old Dominion. 10 years ago, we were $6,400 better, $6,000 better. Now we're only $46,000. Our salaries, faculty salaries, are losing ground, which means that the quality of people we can attract to make your investment worthwhile is declining over time. If we can't be competitive with faculty, you guys are getting a short shrift. Next page, page 10. Are you depressed yet?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Why are salary rates so close to more than average?
Well, we're 11,000 below now, below their average. Salaries depend on discipline mix, because some disciplines command higher salaries than others. It takes more to get an engineering professor than it does to get a history professor. It takes more to get a top quality business faculty, and William & Mary doesn't have an engineering school. William & Mary, where I went to school, is pretty much a small liberal arts school. High quality, but it's pretty much a small liberal arts school. So they're not trying to attract researchers, they're not trying to attract engineers, and the small physics department, the small chemistry department, most of their faculty are in the social sciences. So that's why it may not look as much as it does otherwise. Yes?
So I see instructor salaries in here. Do you guys have anywhere, I guess, like administrators, the average, compared to other universities for that?
The administrative category is a category called administrative and professional faculty. It includes people like me, but it also includes people who are like librarians. And so we have averages for those, but it's just not shown here because, with the exception of the librarians, where you all do come in contact, it's not as material to what I think is important to you guys, what's in the classroom. If you're asking me, are our salary averages for administrative and professional faculty comparable to these? No, they're as far behind the others, depending on the position. Because, you know, there's a table in here, probably the last page of the whole thing, looks at where all the new money has gone the last 5 years. If you want to look, I'm not going to go over it, but if you want to look at it, go ahead and look at it. Show you all the new money. And what you'll find is that 80% of the new money that we've gotten, now it's since been cut, so that now it's non-existent new money, but when we allocated it, 80% of the new money went into academic programs. The other 10% went into new facilities coming online and utility rate increases. So 90% of all the new money went into what it is that you all experience in the classroom. Okay, salaries losing ground. The percentage of faculty who are tenure or tenure track, meaning they're the ones not just teaching, but they're also doing research. They're also helping to design the curriculum and the courses that you all have. Those are tenure track faculty. That proportion is declining pretty steadily over time.
Sorry, Mr. Bennett, you have 15 minutes and that time's up, but I will entertain a motion to extend at this time. Josh Frank.
For 10 minutes?
There's a motion to extend time for 10 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify with a nay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any abstentions, please signify with an aye.
Let me skip over to page 12. Okay. And this tries to measure the number of faculty against enrollment. As you know, we've got 9,000 more students than we had 10 years ago. Okay. In 1999, you take all the full-time instructional faculty, all the students, we had 88 full-time instructional faculty per 1,000 students. Right now, we've got 68. So what does that mean? There's nothing magic about what we had in 1999, but if you were going to try and provide enough faculty to match where it was in 99, you'd need 560 more faculty. How much would that cost? Do the math. At salary average of $84,000, 560 faculty, fringe benefits, costs $56 million. Just to match the student-faculty ratio that we had 10 years ago. Now keep in mind, we really didn't have an engineering school 10 years ago. Okay? Adjuncts are even leaner than they were 10 years ago. Where we've had a little bit of increases in GTAs, but that only offsets some of the decline in adjuncts. And so, what does that translate into your experience? Bigger classes. It's not rocket science. Bigger classes. Uncomfortably large classes. Let me turn over. I've got a couple pages you don't have. Same thing. Somebody on the staff side. What page number is that? What page is that? It's page 12. Okay. Staff. You want to know why you get a slow answer? It's because the support staff is also leaner than it was in 1999. We need 200